Thanks for staying with us. Now, the theme for World Ocean Day 2021 is the ocean, life and livelihoods. From eating local, sustainably sourced fish to stopping plastic pollution, we all have a role to play to save our ocean. Why is the ocean important, you might ask? One, the air we breathe. The ocean produces over half of the world's oxygen and absorbs 50 times more carbon dioxide than our atmosphere. The second point is the climate regulation. Covering 70% of the Earth's surface, the ocean transports heat from the equator to the poles, regulating our climate and weather patterns. So I'm sure you're convinced to play your part to save the ocean by not littering plastics.
So that's our part.
Yes, that's your part.
Okay, we're trying.
Let's try to do our responsible bit, because the truth is, if you notice the heat wave and climate change is as a result of the clog in the ocean, where we have tons and tons of plastics that are non-degradable covering the surface of the air, where it's supposed to absorb the heat. See the way I'm talking like an oceanic somebody.
And you know the geography. That's the basics.
You know, but I mean, ocean is very important. People would think it's not an important thing, but
No,
you
of
see
course
all
it
the
is,
heat,
it
the
is.
climate
And
change, and all of those things.
I
is
encourage
all
people
tied.
who are in that space, who understand what it is about, also
To talk more about it.
more about it, because I'm not the kind of person who will just dabble into something I don't really understand.
Yeah.
I know the conversation is important. I know the basics.
But imagine
which
if
is
you get more education on it.
ensuring that I don't litter plastics everywhere. I know we are also moving to that point where a lot of
Paper.
countries, a lot of small businesses are using paper to package your takeaway and everything, just to ensure that they are climate,
Eco-friendly.
Eco-friendly. So we need more conversations around that. Those in that space should actually
Talk more.
and
educate people.
us, so
Yeah.
we understand it. I mean, I'm not going to say more than that, really.
So there's a lot of buzzwords. Let me start with Maury. All our stories today is a serious matter. Maury, quickly, what did you find for us in the news today?
The France president also meet and greet outside, like in an open environment, and then he's quickly one of his citizens, and before you know it,
Bas.
like you said, it's on his face. There was just some man in the audience that went ahead and gave him a slap on his face, a whole friend. And we're thinking, is this, but there's been like different theories come up with different things talking about the guy was psychologically challenged. Another angle was saying that Buhari that we on Twitter, he's banning Twitter. Now imagine that somebody slaps him in public in his generation. But yes, to keep it really short and simple, that was what I found.
So he's psychologically challenged.
What
is not the black man? All of them used to have better problem.
I was saying that if it was Nigeria, as the slap is going, that hand, it will not even get to it. Half of the hand is out already. Then you are going straight to hanging.
The way the guys that supposed to protect them will jump on you. This was they're still doing hand as if they're looking for what to catch. They will catch you.
What did you find for us in the
That's definitely
news?
not encouraging. People shouldn't do that. That's harassment.
Never.
However, I mean, we're talking behind the scenes and we're making jokes on how if some Nigerians have the opportunity to meet a Buhari face to face, it might be a worst case. But regardless of how you feel about anything,
decorum, never.
That is harassment.
Yeah.
That's assault,
Yeah.
and it is not allowed for any reason.
Absolutely, is
Learn
a
to control your
act.
emotions.
Yes.
Always come to the
No
negotiation
matter how
table.
upset, even when I see people slapping their house help, it's the same thing. No matter how angry I am, I can't raise my hand and hit another person.
Yeah, it's not just
even
it's
my
not
child, I
about
will not
being
do
the
that.
president or the house help. You cannot hit anyone.
Anybody.
It is wrong.
Anybody is wrong.
Yeah.
Totally wrong. All right, Uti.
So my headline: Twitter ban. Malami will decide prosecution of Adeboye, Kumuyi, and others, says Lai Mohammed. So, we all know what's been happening, and our government and our minister are standing behind the fact that if Nigeria is on fire, then the human rights to which we are calling for will not matter. But of course, over the last couple of days, the leaders of the Redeemed Christian Church of God and the Deeper Life Christian Life Ministry have both referred to the fact that their churches and their organizations are running in multiple countries around the world. I believe the RCCG referred to 170 countries, Deeper Christian Life, 100 countries, and basically saying that they are not breaking any laws because they can tweet from any other location outside of Nigeria. And they've also referred to the as Article 19. What was it now? There was an Article 19 of the United Nations Universal Declarations of Human Rights.
Yeah.
Which was saying that this violates if they are to come off Twitter. So, I mean, again, this is just so much is unfolding around this story day by day. In fact, dare I say, hour by hour, more is coming to the fore around this. And I mean, this is sips whatever drink it is you're drinking and watch it unfold.
Yes. So.
Because, I mean, all I can say about this entire thing, I guess we have a whole show to discuss it, but Nigeria, as always, we major in the minor. So let's go.
Everybody keeps saying that, they want to see whether they would prosecute, because these are big wigs.
Who? On which
So that's why Lai Mohammed quickly just passed it to Malami and said...
There's no legislation for it. There's no legislation that calls it a crime. There's no legislation. There's nothing to prescribe what the punishment is for it. So on what basis would you be prosecuting? But I'm not even, this going that far is good, I beg. We're on day 63 of the strike of the judiciary. So where they going to prosecute? But like I always say to you guys, never say never. Nigeria
is a cruise.
You can shock us how one. So let's see.
And before I take my story, talking of the judiciary, I just saw before we came on that the FG is telling them to go back to work, or they are going to impose no work, no pay. And I'm wondering, you are having this kind of conversation with the judiciary.
And because you know what is about to come.
That caused the problem in the first place.
No work, no pay to the judiciary.
You don't understand, Uti. They know that for them to do this Twitter arrest and the prosecution, they need the judiciary. So they have quickly gone to order those ones.
This your quote is apt.
As in very apt quote. When I saw the quote, I said the quote just describes the Nigerian government.
You should have added Nigerian behind, not government. But anyway, my own story is on Twitter still. Serap and 176 concerned Nigerians have filed a lawsuit against the federal government over the unlawful suspension of Twitter in Nigeria, criminalization of Nigerians and other people using Twitter, and the escalating repression of human rights, particularly the right of freedom of expression, access to information, and media freedom in the country. Now, the suit filed before ECOWAS Community Court of Justice in Abuja is seeking an order of the interim injunction restraining the FG from implementing a suspension of Twitter in Nigeria, pending the hearing and determination of the substantive tweets. So, suit rather, So, okay, let me just take this part. The suit read in part: the suspension of Twitter is aimed at intimidating and stopping Nigerians from using Twitter and other social media platforms to access government policies, expose corruption, and criticize acts of official impunity by the agents of the federal government. And of course, their lawyer is Femi Falana. So we'll definitely keep an eye to see.
We are keeping an eye. So let me just quickly tie my own insight. My own is very short and simple. The House of Representatives have summoned the Honorable Minister for Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, to appear before it over the controversial suspension of Twitter. So Mr. Mohammed is to appear before the Joint Committee on Justice, Commerce and Information. The Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, announced this in his speech during the plenary session. That was today, Tuesday. He said that the Joint Committee will investigate the process that led to the suspension of the platform. And Mr. Gbajabiamila said the House will have to listen to the government before taking any action. So the Joint Committee has 10 days to conduct the investigation and report back to the House.
I would love to watch this that session if he decides to attend. That's the question.
That was the question I asked Elsie, that would he show up? Elsie said no, he likes to talk.
He likes to talk.
So let us watch. See, let me tell you something. This Nigerian government, they are giving us
This isn't
things
film.
to talk
There's no
about.
ending.
If there was no drama happening, we would not have even fantastic conversations around.
No, we have too many conversations to have that this rubbish is pushing under the radar.
But it's interesting. It's
we'll
interesting how this is unfolding, and is not going to end anytime soon. So we're just going to be watching and seeing what's going to happen. So we're talking Twitter today. I mean, we found a very interesting, article, and I'm going to read some excerpt from that when we come back from the break. So we'll now open the phone lines to also hear you, our viewer. Let us hear what you have to say about the Twitter ban. It's important to hear from you. Stay with us. We'll be right back.